What's going on, everybody? Okay, so I'm going to try a video that's a little bit different, but I did have a request to do this, so we're going to do it. Okay, so foot pegs I just got. They are forward controls. Bought them on Amazon. I believe they were $179 and they cost me $220 shipped. Okay, so this is my bike. It's a 1996 Suzuki Intruder. Okay, I bought the forward controls for it because they look good and they're comfortable. But the only downfall is, excuse me, is they come with almost no instructions. Zero instructions for the install process. It only comes with a little bit of instructions, which I'll put a picture here. Comes with just a little bit of instructions on how to assemble it, but I'll kind of walk you through a little bit of it. Here's the other side, if you can see it. Okay, so I didn't do a video of me doing the entire installation because I'm not gonna lie to you, it's frustrating, and if I did, I would have to bleep out a lot because there was a lot of cussing involved. So anyway, so when you receive this specific foot peg set up, all of this stuff is all going to be in pieces. Okay, so this bracket is going to be separate from pretty much everything. Okay, now the assembly, as far as putting this entire thing together, is kind of easy. You really want to pay attention to these foot pegs. These are what are crucial. I had to take this off a couple times because I kept putting these together wrong. Okay, so because the picture isn't very descriptive of how, you know, how to put them together. So anyway, what you want to start with on this specific bike, now this is for a 96 Intruder. Okay, I don't know, this is a 1400 cc right there. Okay, as far as the 800 Intruder goes, I'm not sure because I've never seen those bikes, but this is how I had to do it. Okay, so first of all, your headers on both sides need to come off. Okay, simple 2 bolts here, that pops out, and then there's a clamp down here that clamps your silencer to your header. Okay, undo that, that slides off. Okay, now the main reason you need to take those off, okay, not only is it for this mount right here, okay, because if I can even point to it, that is a new mount that comes with it, but on your stock Intruder, okay, there is a bolt down on the other side of the header here that you can't get to normally because it's got pins in it. But underneath the bike, this entire cradle, this entire thing needs to come off. Okay, so right here, this is where your original foot pegs go. It comes with a nice beauty ring cap, pretty cool. So this is how they look underneath. But anyway, so this entire cradle comes off. There's 6 bolts. Okay, there's 8 bolts. Okay, 2, 4, 6, and then 8 on the other side. Okay, now for my specific bike, was bone stock. I don't think it's ever been taken apart, but these 2 bolts here go up and through into a welded nut in the frame, and the bolt that stuck through had a pin, which you can get to that bolt, your mount up here, without taking the headers off, but you can't get to that pin to pull it without the header entirely off. So header needed to come off, pulled the 2 pins out, back these bolts out. Okay, do not, okay, I repeat, do not do what I did because it kind of hurt. All right, pay attention, don't be dumb like I did. This main cradle is where your kickstarter or kickstand bolts to. Okay, so you want to be careful when you take these freaking bolts out because your kickstand is obviously held, or your bike's obviously held up by your kickstand. Take that off, the kickstand comes off, the freaking bike falls on you. That's exactly what happened to me. So don't be stupid like I did. Be observant. take your time with these because they're a pain. Okay. So also in the book, or in the pack, all of these things come separate. So this, there's a little spin nut on the other side of this, if I can see it right here. This is a spacer that comes separate, and there's a big bolt that goes on each side that holds all these things together. Okay. And then this has just your typical Allen on the other side. Okay, back in here, right? So if I can get the phone, sorry, I'm recording my phone. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bolt right here. And then on the other side, there's also another bolt right there. Everything on this bike is freaking Allen head. So I highly suggest getting the sockets that have an Allen head on them. I believe these are 10 millimeter on both sides, and then everything else all varies. Okay, so this bike, or this pedal set, is mostly put together. I have to make a few minor adjustments to it. So anyway, but when you get this cradle off, this bottom cradle, there's adapters that you need to put in. So this is the hardest part. It takes a little bit to figure it out. Okay. So see that shiny chrome piece? Okay, that's part of an adapter for your stock brake booster. So that all needs to go on. I'm not taking it apart to show you how it's done. You just kind of got to play with it, and it eventually falls into place. There's 2 Allen bolts on the back side that hold everything together. Okay, so it takes a minute, but if you pay close attention when you're taking off your foot pegs stock, pay close attention to how it works. Maybe take pictures. Do what you got to do in order to understand how everything comes apart. Because once that bracket's back in, it all goes back together stock. This thing just holds it off a little ways, and it gives you this arm to attach your brake pedal to. Okay, so that was the fun part. Also, what I did last night, keep an eye out for as well. There's buttons. There's a little button down in here that needs to come off. Got 2 Phillips screws. It works your brake light. Okay, so when you press it down, it presses the button that turns your brake light on. Okay, there's also one on this side for the Kickstarter. Sorry, I keep calling it Kickstarter. I'm used to dirt bikes. Kickstand switch, and it basically, when your kickstand's up, it presses that button in. Okay, which allows you to drop the bike in gear, which allows you to ride. If your kickstand ever falls off, that button, or comes out, that button releases and it shuts the bike off. So if your kickstand's out, your bike shuts off, so you can't put it in gear, in other words, for a safety issue. That needs to be bolted up also. Okay, so when you get this cradle dropped out and you get all your mounts attached and you think you're ready to install it back on the bike, please, I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to save you 20, 30, 40 minutes of cussing. Okay, make sure those buttons are bolted back on, because you cannot get to them when the cradle's bolted up. Same with this brake line, your rear brake line. You cannot get to it when that cradle is mounted up. Okay, so make sure, do not do what I did. Get all that stuff bolted back up, and then shove your cradle back up, and then run your 8 bolts in. Okay, make sure all that is done. Okay, so now we're going to go to the other side. Okay, this is all basically general assembly. I'm trying to show you a walkthrough entire picture of it, because in the pictures that you'll see, there's just a few pictures, and they are detailed, but they're usually from like this angle, so you can't see anything that goes on in here. Okay, so I'm trying to show you exactly how I have this all set up, so that way you can see it and get it done for yourself. So this specific kit also replaces your motor mount bolt. Okay, so this is a big bolt that runs through the other side of the bike, and there's a nut and a washer on each side, as well as a spacer. Okay, and that spacer holds it out so you can mount it to here. Okay, so we'll take a look at the other side here. It's really not much different. This side I gotta have a flashlight. Okay, so this side is your shifter linkage side. Okay, so your Kickstarter, set it again, kickstand. So you're using the original linkage that bolts up to your engine. That's just a 10 bolt, okay, 10 millimeter. This thing threads on it, on there, along with this side, okay, up to your pedal. Now these two pedals are different, okay. If you notice, the hole is down here on this one, and then on that other one the hole is on top, okay. The hole on top is for your brake side, the hole on bottom is for your shift linkage. So make sure you do that, because that's another thing I messed up, okay. So saving you guys some hassle, so you don't have to keep constantly taking this on and off, on and off, on and off, because trust me, if you're dumb like I am, it's a nightmare, okay. So this bolt runs straight through, everything's fine and dandy with that. You get your spacer on there, and you get your bolt, you tighten that stuff down, you're ready to rock, okay. Also, this header has to come off as well to get to those pins and those bolts that I was talking about earlier, and all fine and dandy. I think that's everything for over here. So this side, very easy, no big deal. You got your beauty ring here. I can actually show you better on this side. It's got a little nut right in here. So this has a bolt that threads through, and then a little nut to cover it up, or to hold the bolt in. So without this, this is just a big old hole, okay. So yeah, here's the button that I was talking about for the kickstand. So right now, since the button's out and the kickstand is down, if I were to turn this bike on and drop it into gear, it's going to shut off, okay. So when your kickstand's up, this button is held in, which allows you to drop it into gear. Remember to bolt that up, for the love of Christ, because it's horrible to take this bottom cradle on and off, on and off, on and off, okay, because it's heavy and it's hard to get bolted up, and they are, every one of them are Allen bolts, all right there, you can see them all right here, okay, all of them. So in this specific case, when I put mine back on, I didn't put the stupid pins in because I wasn't going to fight to put those back in. So I blue Loctited everything and make sure they are tight, okay. So yeah, so anyway, there's only a few things that I have left to do to this, and I'm gonna do it, and I'll be back in a quick edit. But number one is I need to figure out, well, I just don't need to figure it out, it ain't hard. So this thing just adjusts, it spins after I loosen this, because this is set up properly, and it works and everything, but my foot can't get under here to, you know, shift. So I need to make this bar longer so I can pick this up a little bit more, because that needs the feet under, obviously, so my foot can get under there so I can comfortably shift, okay. And then next I have a plate, and my headers are still hot, I keep touching them. I have a plate that is going to bolt up right here to these 3 bolts, okay, and then that goes up and under, and the kit comes with 2 bolts for your cradle, okay. I'm gonna copy and paste the instructions, and then if I can, the guy's name, but you can also find them, because I bought these on Amazon. You can find them on the review page on the Amazon. You just scroll down on the page. He has the instructions. They're kind of vague, but it shows the major things that you need to do to, you know, just step by step, okay. So but on that one, the 2, I don't know if I can get the angle or not, let me try. So anyway, I said there was 4 bolts or 8 bolts. I don't think I'll be able to get the angle, but let me try this. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it or not, because I can't see the phone, but there, you got the 4 bolts up in here, okay, and then notice these 2 front bolts here are gone, they're not in there, and that's because the kit comes with 2 bolts, because this plate that I have right over here, okay, this plate is going to cradle up and under, right, and then it's going to get bolted on to those front 2 bolts. It actually sits just like this, okay, and it, you know, your 2 bolts, and then it bolts up with 3 bolts up in here, right there. Okay, so pow. Here's what the plate looks like. It's just got a curve to it. Okay. Don't put this on when you're assembling these pegs on your table before you install it. Don't put that on. Okay. It just makes a huge hassle. You can put it on later. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. I also need to bleed those brakes over there because I had to take that whole assembly apart. And yeah, I'm going to do a quick edit and I'm going to get to work and get those all done. And I'll be back for a final conclusion. All right, we're back. So what was a half a fraction of a second to you was about 2 hours for me. I said it was easy. I only had a few things to do. I did not. Okay. Remember when I said when you're putting these together to be patient and observe everything you take off? Well, I obviously didn't do that. See that screw? If you rewind the video to the before the jump cut, you'll see that screw wasn't there. Just that little itty bitty thing right there, right? So what that screw does is there's a button. The buttons, remember I mentioned to make sure to install for the brake light. Okay, so you see, I don't know if you can tell, but that button's being held down right now. When I press the brake, it pops up and it releases that button. See that? The brake light is on when that button's not being pressed. It's the other way around. That button is always pressed, and when you press your brake pedal, it picks it up off, releasing the button, turning on your brake light in your rear. Okay, I didn't have that screw in there, so I had to take this whole brake booster assembly back off, figure it out, run and grab my screw, which was in my old brake pedal. Remember this when you're taking it apart. It's right in this slot, right there. It won't focus, but that's the old brake pedal, right? So when it functioned, right, picked it up, took that off the screw exactly like this one did. So another crucial thing, remember it, because it'll save you 2 hours like I just went through. It was 8:30, maybe 8:45 when I filmed that last video. As you can see, it's now pitch black outside. See my Banshee, pretty little thing, love it. So anyway, by the way, if you like Banshee videos or dirt bike videos, go ahead and subscribe, or feel free to check out some of them other videos that we have, because before we got into motorcycles, before I got into motorcycles, we were a big dirt bike. We loved dirt bikes, loved quads, all that crazy stuff. But long story short, we all bought motorcycles. My buddy got one. He got killed on his. Everybody sold their motorcycles except me. We all kind of just took breaks on them. And now everybody's slowly, 2 years later, coming back and buying motorcycles. So, yeah. So, we got our foot pegs. But anyway, like I said before, brakes are bled. Got everything hooked up and adjusted the way I want it. There's that plate that wasn't there before. And then it runs in and bolts down with these two bolts that we left out in the carriage bolt. When you are installing your new engine mount, when you're doing these, don't tighten this down all the way. Do not, because it needs to be able to rock back. Thing needs to be able to rock back and forth in order to hit your bolts down in here. So after you get that installed, then it's this, okay, and then you go through and tighten all your hardware. So blue Loctite is your friend, and make sure you blue Loctite. I blue Loctited pretty much everything underneath this undercarriage, because that's kind of crucial stuff and it can't fall out. So let's swing around here to our shifter side. Okay, you can see I got that pedal up in the air a little bit better. Fits my big old foot. And the beauty of it, after 2 hours, no brake light, brake light. So you get to look at my ugly mug for the first time. So that's it. It's done, ready to go. And yeah, I think we made it. So after painstaking hours of me being stupid and not paying attention to what I was doing, make sure you pay attention, folks, when you're taking stuff apart, because it is hell to put it back together if you don't know what you're doing. So again, like I said, if you're a big fan of ATVs, quads, blah 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 blah, check out the channel. And you know all that, the drills that all the other YouTubers say. Like, subscribe, comment, let me know what's going on. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know also, because I'll be happy to help. So till then, thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.